We would like to thank you for joining us on our tour in New York State. We will be serving as your tour guides or tour kids, and we hope by the end of our tour you learned a great deal about New York State.
We will begin our tour with what New York was like many years ago. Okay, actually thousands of years ago. People lived in this land before it was even called New York. These early people were hunter-gatherers. This means they hunted for their food.
In about the year 1200, New York was home to many Native Americans.
The Algonquin people relied more on hunting and often lived in villages near lakes and rivers. They built homes called wigwams. Men were the heads of the Algonquin family.
The powerful Iroquois Confederacy included the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca people. The men of the tribes were hunters and fishers, while the women raised corn, beans, squash, and tobacco. The Iroquois were known as the Moose-Sawyer people of the Longhouse. The term Longhouse referred to the construction of their dwellings and their communal lifestyle. Members of the same clan shared a longhouse.
Today there are 8 federally recognized Indian nations: the Cayuga, Oneida, Onondaga, Mohawk, Shinnecock, Tuscarora, Tonawanda, and Seneca.
Now we will move up in time to the 17th century. We will begin here in Athens. Athens is located in Greene County and is one of many towns located on the Hudson River.
Now let's move on to a little history about our hometown of Athens. The act of creating the new town was passed February 25th, 1815. The Athens area is mostly farmland with only a handful of scattered residents. By 1854, the village as it basically appears today was established. Through the 19th century, the village grew westward away from the river and northward along the river. Since the 1900s, the village has changed very little.
Athens served as a port on the Hudson-Athens Ferry. The village became a thriving hub for shipbuilding, brickmaking, and ice harvesting. After the Lipton-Winkle Bridge was built in 1935, the need for the ferry was eliminated and closed in 1947.
Athens was also lucky enough to serve as one of the locations where filming occurred for the 2005 hit movie War of the Worlds. Many people that live locally were able to serve as actors in the movie. You probably didn't know that Miss Busy was a movie star.
While visiting Athens, you need to take a moment to stop by Riverfront Bar, where you get an excellent view of the Hudson-Athens Lighthouse.
The Hudson-Athens Lighthouse is the northernmost of 7 remaining lighthouses on the Hudson River.
Through the darkest nights, through
The Hudson River begins as a stream high in the Adirondack Mountains. From there, it flows 350 miles to the Atlantic Ocean.
The Hudson River has always been an important part of life in New York. Before there were roads, people traveled the Hudson in boats. You could say that the Hudson River was New York's first highway.
Once called the North River, today the Hudson River is named after its first explorer, Henry Hudson. In 1609, Henry Hudson, an Englishman, sailing for the Dutch, sailed aboard the longest and deepest river as far north as Albany.
As a result of Hudson's exploration, the Dutch claimed land all over the river he explored. The Dutch West India Company set up a colony of the New Netherland, named after the Dutch country in Europe, the Netherlands. In 1624, the first Dutch colony sailed to New Netherland to trade first with the Native Americans. In 1664, the Dutch colony was taken over by the British. The colony New Netherland was renamed New York. The colony New York grew and prospered.
More settlers came, including African Americans who were brought to New York as slaves. Well, part of New York was both claimed by the English and the French. Fighting broke out between the two countries.
George Washington, the name himself from this was called the French and Indian War. With the British capture of Quebec in 1759, the French and Indian War was over, and the French withdrew from New York.
Eventually, under British rule, the colonists grew restless. They became angry at the high taxes, which they thought were unfair. The colonists wanted to stay in the government. Fighting broke out in 1775 at Lexington and Concord. The American Revolution had begun. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Because of its location. The British wanted to capture the entire state and thus split the colonies in two. The Battle of Saratoga, an American victory, was considered a turning point in the war.
Benedict Arnold, American hero, will be later labeled a traitor after trying to turn over the West Point to the British.
New York fought hard for their freedom. On November 25th, 1783, a peace treaty was signed with England. New York is now free to go in the United States of America.
After the war, people met on Wall Street in New York City to do business. In 1792, the New York Stock Exchange began there.
In 1807, Robert Fulton and Robert Livingston of Claremont built the first steamboat. Before long, steamboats were sailing up and down the Hudson River. Transportation was improving.
DeWitt Clinton, mayor of New York City, wanted the state to build a canal that would link the Hudson River with Lake Erie. On July 1st, 1817, DeWitt Clinton became governor of New York State. 3 days later, work began on the Erie Canal.
The canal is 363 miles long from Albany to Buffalo, completing a navigable water from the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes. The canal officially opened on October 26, 1825.
Today there are 35 numbered locks. Lock Perk's famous Fight 5 is perhaps one of the most iconic features in the Erie Canal. Stone stairs, locks, and wooden gates used in the 1800s next to the remarkable Erie Canal.
The Erie Canal helped towns and businesses in New York State grow. Eventually, railroads would take over the work of the canal.
Her name is Sal, 15 miles.
a revolution or a change was underway. During the Industrial Revolution, power-driven machines replaced hand tools.
Using machines like Isaac Singer's sewing machine built in 1851, workers could produce goods faster and cheaper, making clothes become one of New York's main industries.
In the 1800s, New York also became an important art center. James Fenimore Cooper grew up in Cooperstown, which was founded by his father, William Cooper. He wrote about life on the New York frontier.
Washington Irving, who grew up in New York City, wrote Rip Van Winkle and the Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
The Hudson River School is America's first true artistic fraternity. Its name was coined to identify a group of New York City-based landscape painters that emerged about 1850 under the influence of Thomas Cole. Because of the inspiration exerted by his work, Cole is usually regarded as the father or founder of the school, though he himself played no special role except that he was a teacher at Frederick Edwin Church. Church was the most successful painter of the school. These artists celebrated the beauty of our country in their paintings.
In 1840s and 50s, New York became a center for reform. In July 1848, Elizabeth Cady Stanton helped organize a convention at Seneca Falls, New York, where the women's suffrage movement got its start. The women's suffrage movement was the first women's suffrage movement in the United States. The meeting launched the women's suffrage movement, which more than 7 decades later assured women the right to vote. Today, the Women's Rights National Historical Park is located in Seneca Falls. And here's me with my family.
New York was a major state on the Underground Railroad, known as Mississippi People. Harriet Tubman guided 300 slaves to freedom, making 19 daring rescue trips to the South. The Harriet Tubman home was located in Auburn, New York. There you can take a trip through history, honoring the Underground Railroad's famed conductor, who is said to have never lost a single passenger in her courageous fight for freedom. Today, you can visit New York's Underground Railroad system from Brooklyn to upstate New York, discovering the stories behind America's greatest abolitionists along the way.
Follow
1861, 11 southern states decided to withdraw from the United States. They formed a new country called the Confederacy. The Confederate Army attacked Fort Sumter, a Union fort. The Civil War began.
Everyone in New York helped in the war effort. Farmers raised cattle, horses, and crops for the troops. Factories made guns, uniforms, and wagons. New York provided the most troops in the Union Army.
When the Confederacy surrendered April 9, 1865, the Civil War was over. Slavery in America also ended.
From 1880 to 1920, over 17 million immigrants came to New York from all over the world. They sailed past the Statue of Liberty, a symbol of a new life in a new land, into New York Harbor. Many immigrants settled where they landed in New York City.
diversity of people from many different states. This makes New York an interesting and exciting place to live and work.
New York is home to hundreds of fine museums, theaters, and sports teams. History comes alive at many historical sites that are so important to our country's heritage.
Pride is shown through support of our various sports teams that include football, hockey, soccer, baseball, and lacrosse.
The professional football teams associated with New York are the Buffalo Bills, the New York Jets, and the New York Giants, even though they are actually located in New Jersey. The professional baseball teams are New York Yankees and New York Mets.
The professional hockey teams are the Buffalo Sabres, New York Islanders, and New York Rangers.
We can't forget about the professional soccer teams, the New York FC, and the New York Red Bulls, as well as the professional lacrosse teams, the New York Lizards, the Rochester Rattlers, and the Buffalo Bandits.
Tourism is a large industry in New York. Our parks, lakes, and rivers offer many recreational activities. The Catskill and Adirondack Mountains draw people from all over the country.
Suppose you decided to take a trip across New York. No matter what route you choose, it'll be a pretty long trip.
New York is over 300 miles wide from Albany in the east to Buffalo in the west, and is over 300 miles wide to the city of Plattsburgh in the north and New York City in the south.
Let's take a short trip to these big attractions. Niagara Falls is our first stop.
Millions of people visit the spot every year. In 1859, it became New York's first state park.
During your visit there, you learned some of the amazing facts about Niagara Falls. In 1859, a tightrope walker actually walked over the falls on a rope. Then on June 15, 2012, Nick Walenda self-described as the King of the Wire. The King of the Wire was the first person to walk a tightrope stretch directly over Niagara Falls. The event was broadcasted internationally. For the walk, he was required to wear a safety harness for the first time in his life.
Then in 1901, Annie Taylor rode over the falls in a wooden barrel. Though bruised and battered, Annie made it alive. She expected fame and fortune for surviving her stunt, but instead, Annie died in poverty. Since that time, 20 other people have gone over the falls in one form or another. 16 have survived and 5 have died.
If for some reason you might think it is a good idea to try to stunt over the falls, it is not easy. It's actually against the law, not to mention extremely dangerous.
attractions you can see while visiting Niagara Falls is taking a ride in the Maid of Mist, or going through the Cave of the Winds. Next time we went to Lockport. Lockport is home of the historic Fighter 5. The locks allowed boats to overcome the 60-foot change in elevation created by the Niagara Escarpment.
You can take a ride on the Lockport Locks and Erie Canal cruises, or visit the Lockport Caves in Monroe.
When you leave the Lockport, you may want to visit the Finger Lakes region. This region has 11 lakes shaped like fingers. These lakes were shaped by glaciers moving across New York in the last ice age.
The Finger Lakes are a popular place to swim, hike, and explore the gorges.
After leaving the Finger Lakes, you can make stops in Syracuse, Rome, and Utica before finally arriving at our state capital, Albany.
In New York, Albany was the capital in 1797. Prior to Albany, Kingston was the capital. In 1860,
69, New York decided to build a new state capitol building. It took 30 years of a cost of $25 million.
Inside the Capitol, marble staircase led to the beautiful rooms where representatives and senators meet.
Carved on the sides and above the marble staircase is faces of famous Americans like Abraham Lincoln, Robert Fulton, and Susan B. Anthony.
Next, we will travel to the Adirondack Park with over 6 million acres. There are over 3,000 lakes and ponds to explore.
It's also the homes of several animals, including beavers, porcupine, bobcat, moose, and bears. Not to mention over 300 kinds of birds.
In 1784, George Washington said that New York was the seat of the empire, though it took many years to become widely known. The nickname for New York is Empire State.
There are a few cities in New York that have nicknames as well. New York City is known as the Big Apple. This name was used to encourage people to visit New York City.
Buffalo is known as the Queen City. This name was created as Buffalo became the queen of transportation in its region with the completion of the Erie Canal and the development of the railroads.
Rochester is nicknamed the Flower City for its parks and gardens.
There have been 56 people throughout the history of New York that have served our state as governor. Some of these people include Grover Cleveland, Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and Thomas Dewey.
There are 56 governors in Andrew Cuomo, who began his term on January 1st, 2011. He was just voted in to serve another 4-year term on January 1st, 2019. There are many state symbols. The breasted bluebird is our state bird. The state flower is the rose.
The sugar maple has been our state tree since 1956. The beavers who greatly influenced the economy and the growth of New York is our state animal.
And the state fruit is the Empire apple.
We have only taken a brief tour through history and sites within our state. We hope you learned a few new things.
And we have put you in a New York State of mind.